Decision fatigue. How can you make good decisions when you have many activities, wear many hats, and find it hard to keep track? You know what that's like. The fatigue of making decisions amidst all your numerous responsibilities, whether it's choosing the various projects you embark on, selecting the most promising ideas among all your ideas, and making financial decisions or relational decisions. There are also strategic decisions, especially in your career and business, not to mention all the sources of information if you are very curious about who to listen to, which book to read, and which training to choose. And that, it gets to you, it creates weight and it creates fatigue from always making decisions. Not to mention the ruminations, wondering if you're on the right path. Is this the right project? Should I keep going or give up? Should I trust this person? Should I listen to this advice? How do we make good decisions? What do we do when we are constantly burdened with 10,000 responsibilities, weight that crushes us, as we make decisions every day to stay on top of things? I'll help you. I'll show you a model, a framework for making decisions with some small tips that will help you a lot. And you'll see, we're going to lighten this burden, this mental load for you. Welcome, I am Johan Youngting. For over 15 years now, I have been helping professionals get organized, free up time, and successfully find their flow through various projects. That's why I also help a lot of multi-potentialites, multi-entrepreneurs, multipreneurs, and professionals who have a lot of responsibilities. What comes up the most is this decision fatigue, these ruminations. Because here I talked about the professional context, but there is also the personal context. And especially for those who have a family, whether it's meals, the choice of entertainment, vacations, or places. What are we going to do? How do we organize ourselves daily? What clothes am I going to wear? It can quickly become a headache, both personally and professionally. And over time, having often worn all these hats and engaged in various activities, whether as a student entrepreneur or an entrepreneur in different fields, and even today with family life, entrepreneurship and so on, one needs to find a model to lighten the load, because otherwise we get exhausted and spend our time mentally burdened, ruminating. And that's the great ailment of our century. That's the big problem today, even with entertainment. When you go on Netflix, Disney+, Amazon Prime, with all the movies and series available, we end up paralyzed by so many choices. It's a problem, how to choose, how to navigate through this ton of opportunities, information, and get out of the false word. The fear of missing out, fear of missing information or an opportunity. I'll give you some advice on this. By the way, before I start, since I often share tips to help you lighten your organizational load, remember to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and especially comment. It helps with the visibility of these videos if they help you, and feel free to share them if you know people who might benefit. And also for those for whom the topic is really important, I am providing a free diagnostic and training in the description that will help you understand your way of functioning in terms of time management, because we are all different, and how to find a rhythm and organization that suits you. This will help you go much further on what I had shared here, so don't hesitate to check the description, open it, and you can follow this series for the next 3 days. You'll see, it will help you a lot. I've received a lot of positive feedback, so go ahead. And the little diagnostic with the PDF will change your vision of yourself and time. We will start addressing this important topic of decision making because it is very close to my heart. Our life is indeed built on several choices we have made, and these choices ultimately have consequences. The issue is that when we say we are going to make a well-informed decision, we think if I make this decision, there will be a consequence. The problem is that we can't predict the future, and we can't know if we are in control of everything from a decision-making perspective with the information we have, or what impact it will have. Hence, and this is very important, the notion of taking a step back and truly understanding a concept illustrated by the quote from Muhammad Ali, which is, "I don't believe in good decisions, I make a decision and make it right." And that's what I want to lead you towards, that there isn't necessarily a right or wrong decision. Decisions need to be made, but how do we increase the chances that they have positive outcomes? And for this, I will give you 5 keys to make better decisions and increase your chances these decisions will be beneficial for the future. The first is clarity. Naturally, when it comes to decision making, it means being clear about the criteria, the resources, and where you want to go. It's important. Why do we make decisions? Why do we struggle to make decisions? It's because we lack clarity and the right information, and we don't have a clear vision of what we truly want. We are heavily influenced by our environment. There are plenty of tips, sources, resources, and things from the noise, as I call it, that can prevent us from being clear about what we truly want deep down. Because every decision has a context. It can be in a business context, a relational context, a personal context, or an intimate context. And when we have to make decisions about continuing or stopping or changing or moving towards something, making a purchase, starting a relationship, ending a relationship, recruiting, adopting a strategy, investing our time, energy, or money into something, it requires being extremely clear about what we really want, what is important to us, what resources we have, and what we expect in terms of intention. Because it's okay to make decisions where we say, I made the best decision with what I had at that moment with my criteria. But on the other hand, I have no regrets about the outcome because, in the end, I made a decision that respected me at that moment, based on my values, the information I had at that time, and what was important to me. I often give the example of quitting a job that doesn't suit you. If you are stressed every day, it ruins your health, it ruins your family life, and at that moment you say to yourself, okay, I don't know if it's a good financial decision to quit my job now, but it's a good decision at this moment for my health, for my family, for my relationships, for myself, and so no matter what happens next, I'm making this decision now because it's extremely important, because health is number one, as they say. But after that, I'll do what needs to be done for the future, but I will have no regrets about quitting because I know that at that moment it was ruining my health. So when I say being clear, it's about being clear on your criteria, but also your internal compass. We'll come back to that. The second point is simplicity. You know, we have a lot of decisions to make. There's the paradox of choice, which is that when there are too many choices, either we get paralyzed, you know the classic, we scroll for ages on Netflix to choose a series or something, or we end up making a decision and constantly thinking, what if I had made a different decision? I choose a path, I choose a project, but I regret it. And if. That's why it's important to lighten the decision-making process. When I say simplify, what I do is try to process, simplify, and anticipate all the decisions that I consider a bit more trivial as much as possible. What am I going to eat this week? Make a menu. How am I going to dress? Prepare my clothes and have a minimal amount, not having to choose from too many clothes. What am I going to wear? Also, finding oneself in business situations that repeat themselves, and I will come back to this, where decisions have to be made each time, even though we could anticipate, create models, and accelerate, simplifying this decision-making process even when delegating to teams. So lighten and simplify the decisions you make. And above all, as I said, and this will be the third point, set up decision-making systems. I have talked a lot about this in other videos, the importance of systems. Whether it's in business, financial choices, relationships, or even recruitment. As soon as there's a decision to be made, yes, we have criteria, I've mentioned it, and we have a process. If I need to choose partners or recruits, I follow a recruitment process. If I make financial decisions, I have a financial decision-making process. If I have to make a strategic decision, I will set up a process. So for all decisions, the biggest trap in decision-making is emotions. It's the overly emotional decisions. When we're afraid or make a quick decision, we go too fast. And that's when we make mistakes. Overly emotional or rushed decisions cause many errors because they are not well thought out. Systems frame us. I know that in business, if there is a moment when I feel things are tense, that we are far from our goals, or maybe sales have dropped, instead of panicking and thinking, now we have to push hard, get exhausted, I would rather say to myself, okay, try to understand the indicators, take some time, set up a process to understand where the problem is coming from and what we can put in place. And implementing it, being quick and agile, but at the same time having the perspective that detaches us from emotions, which also confronts us with facts. Because with our experience, we can very precisely and thoroughly see which process to implement in our decisions in order to ensure they are the best possible. And by the way, in business, for entrepreneurs, it's extremely important to have decision-making processes like. And by the way, if you want to create your own, as I mentioned in the description, the resources I provided will help you. We come to the next point, which is to create your universal compass. Here, in this case, I talked about a system, but it's a system that will govern most of your decisions, and I have one. And this universal compass is based on 3 elements. The first is everything related to the energy of joy, enthusiasm, and positivity. We can call it the sacred fire. You will see in the information for free how important the sacred fire is. And because, in fact, if I don't have enthusiasm, if it's not something that brings me joy and has a really deep meaning, I'm not saying joy, it's not difficult. I say there is really a deep meaning that excites me, which is the strong energy, the driving force of the project. If that's not there, if it's just passing, I don't do it. It's 0 or 100, it's very binary. And yes, when I choose a project, if I feel there's something, if there's a doubt, there's no doubt, in collaboration with people. Generally with people, I get a sense of them very quickly. So I specifically avoid this enthusiasm with the person, the energy we feel. For me, it's very important. The second point, this one, yes, it's going to be, well, a bit more factual, is the return on investment. Resources, time, so time, energy, money, is it worth it? What can it bring? Well, that's a classic. It depends on the projects, but it's also important. Naturally, if we highlight the resources we invest, we want a return on investment. And the last point, which will be the perfect transition to the 5th piece of advice, is, will I learn? Because no matter what happens, as Nelson Mandela said, either I win or I learn. I never lose. That's the idea. We always have something to learn. And that, one of my criteria for my compass is whether I will learn something. Even if it's not the right decision, even if I lose money, it's the lessons price, it's the learning, it's the training that will cost me that much. Yeah, taking a step back and realizing that decisions are meant to make us better, to help us learn. The more decisions we make, the more experience we gain. Good or bad, we gain experience to make better decisions. But we need to be aware, as it's precisely the awareness of the choices that brought us to where we are today. Just ask yourself, what are the decisions in this context, this domain, that brought us here? What are the levers we are pulling? And from that, since I am aware, when situations repeat, I know that I will be able to make the right decisions regarding that thanks to the process I have created and my experience. Today, I have many processes in different areas of life thanks to experience. I'm still learning to create new ones. There is an element of uncertainty. We have everything, the decision, everything guiding us, but we feel the intuition telling us it's not there. We test, and we'll see afterwards. No matter what happens, never regret. We make decisions at such a level of awareness and say, okay, it was the right decision. And as they say, if decisions keep repeating every time, they are not good. The bad choices we keep repeating mean there's a lesson that still hasn't been learned. That's what I wanted to share. It's a way of thinking. And as I said, if you want things that are a bit more practical, I don't want to be too long. There are plenty of areas. Money, business, relationships, and everything. You can create your own systems. Go to the desk for resources. Understand the logic. Decision fatigue is about torturing your mind, whereas in reality, you could take a step back, be clear about your own criteria, set up the right systems, simplify them to make decisions, whatever happens, use your experience, intuition, and instinct in new situations. You can also rely on someone else's experience, someone who has made many decisions, failed a lot, and succeeded a lot, who can guide and help you. Despite that, you need to gain your own experience, and no matter the advice, as I mentioned, make sure you can apply and adapt it to your own context. As for me, I support my clients and I give advice now. We adapt it as much as possible to the clients, but it's up to them to experiment and test. I don't have all the answers for my clients. It's about experimenting, testing, and seeing in the client's context what suits them. We test things, implement them, see what works, what doesn't, and adjust. And that's how it is. So that's what I wanted to share. If you want more resources, it will help you go further, as I have a lot of multi-activities and multi-potentialites developing in their various projects. And don't forget to subscribe, give a thumbs up, like, and comment. And then we'll meet again for the next episodes. And if the topic interests you, I'll also include another video at the end that you might like. I wish you lots of success, and I'll see you very soon.